My name is Alara Valdemar, and I am 28 years old. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, a place known for its beautiful mountains and artsy vibe, but for me, it was just home. I worked at the Grand Vista Hotel, a pretty nice place that attracted tourists who wanted to see the Blue Ridge Parkway or check out the local breweries. I've been working there for about 5 years, starting right after I finished community college. I liked my job most of the time because I got to meet interesting people and help them have a good vacation. The pay wasn't amazing, but it was enough to cover my rent and have a little left over for fun. I shared an apartment with my best friend, Chloe, and we had a cat named Jasper who thought he owned the place. Life was simple, and I was happy with it. I've always been the kind of person who tries to see the good in others, and I believed that if you worked hard and treated people right, things would work out okay. That was before Mary showed up and turned everything upside down. Mary was the new general manager sent by some management company the hotel owner hired. From day one, she had this attitude like she was better than everyone else. She strutted around in her fancy suits, looking down her nose at the rest of us. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe she was just stressed or new to the area, but it didn't take long to see her true colors. She had a couple of favorites, people she would smile at and give easy shifts to, but for most of us, it was like we were invisible unless she wanted to criticize something. She seemed to get a kick out of making people feel small, like it made her feel more important. I kept my head down and did my work, hoping she would mellow out or maybe move on to another job, but instead, things got worse. She started cutting staff to save money, which meant more work for those of us left. She fired people for silly reasons, like being a few minutes late or not smiling enough, and then she wouldn't bother to hire replacements. Pretty soon, we were all stretched thin, trying to do the work of 2 or 3 people. The real trouble started when Mary began messing with our paychecks. She would remove overtime hours, claiming we hadn't earned them, even when we had worked extra shifts to cover for the missing staff. I started keeping careful records of my hours, but it didn't seem to matter. She would just shrug and say it was company policy, even though I knew it was. Then she brought in her husband to work in the kitchen when she fired some of the restaurant staff. He wasn't an employee, hadn't done any of the required training, and he sure wasn't getting paid, which meant Mary was probably pocketing the money that should have gone to a real worker. I saw him back there a few times, looking confused and getting in the way, while the remaining kitchen staff struggled to keep up. It was illegal, and it was wrong, but Mary didn't care. She thought she could get away with anything. She even badmouthed the hotel owner in emails, calling her stupid and incompetent, which really rubbed me the wrong way. The owner wasn't perfect, but she had always been fair to me, and she didn't deserve that kind of disrespect. One particularly busy Friday, everything came to a head. We had a full house, with guests checking in nonstop, and I was scheduled to work the front desk alone because Mary had fired another one of our coworkers the week before. I came in to find that nothing had been prepared for check-ins. The keys weren't organized, the computers were slow, and there were notes everywhere about room issues that hadn't been fixed. Mary had been there earlier but left right as I arrived, giving me a smug smile as she walked out the door. She knew exactly what she was doing, leaving me to drown in the chaos. For the next hour, I tried my best to handle the crowd, but it was impossible. Guests were complaining about dirty rooms, broken air conditioners, and missing amenities. I apologized over and over, promising that my manager would make it right, but inside, I was seething. Mary was probably already home, relaxing while I dealt with her mess. That's when I decided I had had enough. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I waited until I was sure Mary had driven the full hour back to her house, then I took off my uniform shirt and laid it on the counter. I walked out of the hotel in just my bra and jeans, not caring who saw me. It felt reckless and a little crazy, but also incredibly freeing. I got in my car and drove away, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. I knew the restaurant staff would eventually notice the growing line of angry guests, and they would have to call Mary. Sure enough, my phone started ringing about 20 minutes later. Mary was calling, probably panicking, but I didn't answer. I had already texted the other 2 front desk workers, Sarah and Ben, and told them not to pick up either. They were on my side and happy to ignore her calls. I imagined Mary having to drive all the way back to the hotel, fuming the whole time, and then having to face a lobby full of pissed-off people. It served her right. But walking out was just the beginning. I had been planning my revenge for weeks, gathering evidence of all the shady things Mary had been doing. I had copies of emails where she badmouthed the owner, screenshots of paychecks with missing overtime, and even a video I took secretly of her husband working in the kitchen. I put everything on a thumb drive and overnighted it to the hotel owner with a detailed letter explaining what had been going on. I didn't know if it would work, but I had to try. A few days later, I got a call from the owner herself. She was furious, not at me, but at Mary and the management company. She launched an investigation, and within a week, Mary was fired. The management company was let go too, since this wasn't the first time they had sent a terrible manager. The owner offered me my job back, with a raise and an apology for what I had been through. I thought about it for a while, but decided to move on. I found a better job at a smaller hotel where the manager actually respects the staff. Sometimes, you have to stand up for yourself, even if it means walking out in your bra. And yeah, it felt pretty good to know that Mary got what she deserved.